Welcome students. Today we have to start with objectives of accounting in our chapter 1. Let us proceed with the first topic, that is objective of accounting. The first and the foremost objective of accounting is maintaining the records of business transaction. Whatever business transactions we are doing, we must have a record of them for various purposes. First of all, we cannot remember all the things. So, we must have a record, that is what we have taken, what we have to give, what we have to take, and for the purpose of paying taxes, for the purpose of a proof that what we have done. Second point, calculation of profit or loss. If we will record our expenses and the incomes in a proper manner, only then we will be able to calculate the profit or loss. Third point, depiction of financial position. Correct financial position will be depicted only when we have good accounting records, right. Financial position means the statement of assets and liabilities. It will be depicted after all the accounts are prepared properly. And the last usage, providing information to internal and external users. Who are internal users? The persons in the organization. And who are external users? The persons outside the organization. Let us see who they are. First of all, let us understand the basic terms in accounting, and then we will follow it up with the users also. First point, entity. What is an entity? A thing that has definite individual existence, that is any business entity, organization. It can be sole proprietorship, partnership, company or anybody. Second point, what is a transaction? It is an event involving two or more entities. For example, if we purchase the goods, we are involved with the other party. If we sell the goods, we are involved with the customer. So, there are two entities in this event. Two entities are there, so a transaction is there. But please remember, in business we record only financial transaction. Non-financial transactions are not recorded. For example, employee is related to the organization. There are two entities, but the loyal employee and the organization, it cannot be recorded because it is non-financial, right. Third point, what are assets? Assets are the economic resources in monetary terms. They can be fixed, they can be current asset. Like fixed assets are plant and machinery, land and building, these are fixed. And what are current asset? Which changes within the year, like cash, bank, debtors, etc. Now, what are these terms? We will follow it in the coming chapters. Now, what is a liability? Liability is an obligation or a debt which has to be paid. Paid to whom? Creditors who give us the goods on credit. Loan which is given by the bank or somebody else, but we have to repay it. It can be long term, it can be short term. Long term liabilities are like we have taken loan for 7 years. This is a long term liability, and short term liability is like creditors which we have to pay within 2-3 months, whatever amount of the period they have offered us, we have to pay within that period. Next point is capital. Now, what is capital? Capital is the amount invested by the owner. Like you can see in this chart, owner has invested money for a business which is growing like a plant, and what is liability, which you have to pay. Okay. Now, let us start with some very important definitions. First, accountancy. It is a systematic knowledge of accounting. It educates us how to maintain the books of accounts. Like it will tell us the principles, methods and techniques, that is how to use these things in maintaining the accounting records. What is an account? Account is grouping similar transactions at one place. It is a record of financial transaction for an asset or an individual. As you can see in this chart, there are 4 accounts or 5 accounts we have made, in which we have recorded debit and credit. All the points related to that particular account, that particular thing, are recorded at one place. So, that makes an account, लेखा जोखा. एक पर्टिकुलर चीज के बारे में पूरी ट्रांजैक्शंस एक ही जगह पे लिखना is called an account. Now, let us come to a very important point, whether accounting is a science or an art. First of all, let us understand what is science. It is any organized knowledge based on certain basic principles, which is called science. So, accounting is a science because it is an organized knowledge based on certain basic principles. Now, these principles we are going to discuss in the coming chapters. What are those principles? How do we record entries on the basis of them? So, first of all, you must understand that science is there because there are some principles and they have to be followed. Now, what about an art? Art is the technique which help us to achieve our desired objective. So, art is something applying the principles in a particular way according to the particular situation. It may vary from organization to organization, but principles will be the same. It may be applied in a different manner as per the organization. So, we can say accounting is an art as well as science both, right. Now, let us come to an important topic which we have discussed earlier also, users of accounting information. Internal users, owners, management, employees, etc. And external users, bank, creditors, government, investors and potential investors, those who want to invest in the company. So, this way we can classify between internal and external users who are using the accounting information for their purpose, for decision making and all that. Now, let us test your understanding also. We have written a question here, fill in the blank. A dash would most likely use an entity's financial report to determine whether or not the business entity is eligible for a loan. Now, who used the report for a loan? Yes, bank used the reports for a loan. Let us see the next point. The process of accounting starts with what and ends with what? Yes, it starts with recording and ends with communication of the report, not making of the accounts, with communication. In the last step, you communicate the reports to the persons, right. Accounting measures the business transaction in terms of which units? Yes, monetary units. Identified and measured economic events should be recorded in which order? Chronological order, that is date wise, right. Now, let us see a new area, multiple choice questions. These are the hot areas nowadays. Please try to understand the things. Which of the following is not a business transaction? Understand it carefully. Not a business transaction. Bought furniture for business, it is a business transaction. Paid for salary of employee, it is also a business transaction. Paid son's fees from his personal bank account, is it a business transaction? No, it is a personal transaction. And if we have paid son's fees from business, yes, it will be a business transaction because you are drawing money from the business. It is related to the business. But the third point, son's fees from personal bank account, it is absolutely not related to the business. Let us see the next question. Which is the last step of accounting as a process of information? You have to choose between which is the last step in the information. Recording data, second, preparation of summary in the form of financial statement, next, communication of the information, next, analysis and interpretation of information. Yes, it is communication because that is the last step. Now, let us see one other questions. Use of common unit of measurement and common format of reporting will promote what? Comparability, understandability, relevance or reliability. This is a good confusing question. Read it again. What is the use of that common unit? If we are using rupees as measurement and common format of reporting, that is everybody is reporting in a common format, common style. What it will promote? What is the effect? What is the best point about that is, yes, it is comparability. Comparability is a good point. If we are using the same format, we will be able to compare, as I have told you in the previous discussion. Now, what is the role of accounting? Role of accounting as a language. It is a language of business which is used to communicate the information on enterprise. Whatever we are doing in business, we can communicate it through accounting. Second, it is a historical record also. As we are recording the things in a chronological way, date wise, sequence wise, so we can record everything in financial transaction with the amount involved date wise. So, we can have the effect ki what has happened in the history, it is before us, right. As a current economic reality, it is viewed as the means of determining the true income of an entity, namely the change of wealth over time, what we were having previously and what we are having now, what happened in between. So, current economic reality, we can get the information, and accounting can serve as an information system because it is viewed as a process which links an information source, that is the accountant, to a set of receivers, external users by a channel of communication. So, through accounts, accountant are communicating the information to the users. So, we can see accounting as a channel of communication which is communicating the information to the users. Now, what information technology and accounts are related? The latest is information technology, IT, computers. So, you have to develop competence in computer technology. You must know all the things related to accounts, tally and all that, programs. Then you should develop facilitation skill like persuasion and communication. It becomes, it is a necessity these days. You must have communication skills, and then you must develop analytical skills. Analytical skills means seeing the things and analyzing it properly and communicating the pinpoint information which is needed from that particular analysis, like ratio analysis and all these things. These will come in the classes to come. Then you must acquire business knowledge in strategy, human resources, marketing, finance and economics. All these are required and these are closely related with accountancy. And the most important thing, you should develop a willingness to change. Don't stick to old fashioned rules. Always be able to change with the technology, so that you can bring in fresh things. Then develop proficiency in accounting and tax issues by reading various articles which are given in leading newspapers. So you must create interest in that, so that you are involved in the accounting and the tax related issues, and there is a link between them. You should try to explore that by reading and have a habit of reading in a long way. So students, what we have learned today is that accounting is a science as well as an art. Science because it is based on certain principles, and art because it can be used in a way as per the organization and the circumstances. Then we have studied that we must know computers, as it is the new area. Accounting and computers are closely related to each other. We must have the knowledge, and we must have the habit of reading the newspapers and all that, so that we can create an interest in all these things. In the next class, we will be starting with chapter number 2, that is theory base of accounting. Till then, goodbye. Thank you.